Good morning, everyone. Thanks very much for joining me. It's Catrin from 3Ps. Sorry, it's been a while since we spoke. I've been moving my gym and also finishing the second edition of one of my books, so I've been a bit busy, but I've missed you and I'm back. And this video is about how I would design a weights gym to attract women. I'm going to talk about how it would look, what would be in it. Let's start with why bother. I had a great friend who's in the pub business who always said to me, if you can get women into the pub, the men would follow. So if you're in business as a personal trainer, or a gym owner, or you're a guy that wants to meet girls, then the reality is if you can attract women into the gym, then it will become a busy gym, a successful gym. So I've done a separate video, which you can find on this channel, which is about women who lift weights and why that's a positive in the gym itself. But this particular video is specifically about how you would design the layout of a gym to attract women. Now, why would you listen to me? First of all, because I have two of my own gyms. Okay, I have one gym, personal training gym, which is the one that's being moved about at the moment, and have another gym which is a much larger gym, which is a weights only hardcore training gym. That is a much larger gym. That's a commercial gym. So I have two gyms. If I was starting again, what would my ideal of a gym for women look like, or a gym that attracted women and therefore it was a busy gym look like? Well, I thought I'd do you a diagram. Let me just show you the diagram that I've done. Okay, I'm going to come back to that, just talk about the theory behind it first. What you saw in that diagram was a gym that is designed on the same principles as a Victorian prison. Now stay with me here. There's a reason why I've done that. The design of a Victorian prison was called an H block, which meant that you had basically two runs of cells up parallel, and then you had a central connecting walkway between the two. Now, the reason they were designed that way was for visibility, so that at any point, if there were prison officers walking along either the walkways or the T-bar in the middle, they could be seen. It made it very easy to know what was going on in what they called the wing, which was the H block, and it also meant that the prisons themselves were much safer because there were no hidden areas of the H block that couldn't be seen either by other prisoners or by prison officers. Now, we've moved away from those Victorian jails towards more sort of dormitory style living, and one of the things that's come with that for prisoners is it's become much more unsafe, because once you're in a dorm type situation, the door can be closed. It's very difficult to know what's going on. For the British people watching, you may remember the movie Scum. If you haven't seen it, try and see if you can find it. It was one of the seminal late 70s, early 80s movies about a youth prison, but it led to an outcry about the conditions in jail. Anyway, this is a complete detour from what I'm mainly talking about, which is how I would design the layout of a gym. So, as I said, my starting point is an H block, and the reason it's the same reason you would have it in a prison, because it's about visibility. Give you another example of good design and bad design: hospitals. When you look at a hospital ward, if care and nursing is key to that ward, the nurses' station will be at the centre of the ward. So generally speaking, you'll have a ward that's a long corridor or a series of beds, and then you have the nursing station in the middle. And that means that the nurses are equidistant from each end, meaning they're equal distance from each end. They can respond quickly if they've got a patient who needs them. They can see the whole ward. They can make sure everyone's okay. Now, a few years ago, I went to visit a friend of mine, a member of my family, who was unwell, and he was at a hospital called Bart's in London, a very famous hospital. And you could tell the moment you walked on that ward, there was something wrong with the ward because of the way the nurses' station was. Because when you came in, you got through security, and the first thing you saw was the nurses' station, and the nurses were sitting away from the actual beds and with their backs to the beds. That was a pretty scary experience when I was visiting my relative on that ward, because I never felt that the nursing station was properly connected to the ward. Put that into a gym context, you often go into gyms and find the station where the PTs are, the personal trainers, which are in effect the nurses. They're safety trained, they're skills trained, they're meant to be interacting with customers. Their station will be away from the main gym room, or worse, they will have themselves stationed near the bits that they're interested in. So, for example, if most trainers are interested in either functional fitness or things like the group exercise, they'll be stationed near there. Now, where they need to be stationed is near the heavy equipment, because that is where the health and safety risk is. That is where the risk of injury, both to clients and to others in the area, is. And personal trainers also need to be there to teach skills, and that's where the skills are needed. It's less about watching what's going on in the yoga studio and much more about making sure that people are, for example, squatting safely. So the first thing I would say about a gym that I design is that the station for the PTs will be in the centre. So go back to my diagram. This is where I put the PTs. I put them at the centre of the H, okay? Right in the middle, okay? The customers can see them. They can see the customers. They can see all that's going on at the top of the gym and the bottom of the gym. They become the beating heart of the gym. And if you're hiring the right PT, or if you are a PT, you need to be sociable and you need to want to interact with clients. So it's really important that you be visible. The second point I would make, which is the same as the point in a prison, is the PTs need to walk the floor. They need to walk the line. And the reason they need to do that is because, number one, you're never going to pick up business as a personal trainer if you're not talking to customers. But number two, it's not just about waiting for your price per hour. You should be helping clients on the gym floor get on with their exercise. You should be making suggestions. I know it's difficult, and often PTs feel that they don't want to thrust themselves on clients, but it depends how you do it. But if you're offering good free advice, you're really helping a client through a workout. Number one, you might pick up that client for yourself, but number two, you create a sense of excellence in the gym and a sense of motivation, and it's a value exchange. You're getting to a relationship with the customer, which could develop into a PT relationship, but in return, you must give value, so you're also helping the client. So those PTs should be walking the line, should be walking the H block, should be interacting with the customers. So that's the general layout. Now let's talk about where I would position things. As I said, okay, my diagram, I put the PTs in the middle. Okay. Now, the next major issue that you have with gyms is how the weights, machines, and the free weights are positioned. So I know it's true that often gyms have a problem with space, and so you're looking for the most efficient way to use space. One of the things that irritates me most when I go to gym is if weights machines keep getting moved around. You get a new gym manager, you get an influential PT on the floor, and they want everything changed the way they want it. It's a nonsense. It's like going to a supermarket and not being able to find the bread. Decide where your equipment is and keep it there. It just irritates clients who move things around. Okay, I would try and group my heavy weights machines by body part, because the reality is that for those who are really serious about training and doing split training, that type of bodybuilding routine, they are going to have leg day, chest day, back day, arm day. So it makes sense for them, as a nod to them, that that you group the machines like that. The other thing with having with to an extent pandering to that is, for a lot of men, it's quite inspirational to have larger men, more muscled men in the gym. It's a balance, but often, and I'll put it this way, for younger men who want to build muscle, they like to see other people who are further along the road than them. So do cater for the men who are doing, and some women as well, who are doing bodybuilding routines. Okay, so that's how you would broadly group. However, you need to recognise that in a gym, particularly if you want to contract women, you need to encourage all gym goers to use machines. So what you can't do is stick your machines in dark corners, or corners where there is no free access to and fro. Going back to my friend who ran a pub chain, and him saying to me, if we can get the women in, the men will follow. One of the first things he did, and it's become now, you wouldn't realise how things were, but in the UK, drinking establishments were a one day. If you go back 30 years, they were pubs, and pretty much that was it. There were no bars, there were no wine bars. And to go into a pub, you had to go into a dark smoke-filled area, and it would not be an area that women wanted to enter. Women like to be able to look into a space before they enter it, and that's an element of sort of personal safety, but just it's almost instinctual with women. So what my friend did with pubs was he actually just took the front walls off his pubs and put glass in, and it became the way now. If you go to a bar, if they want to attract women, you'll find that as you walk through, the inside of the establishment is very visible from the outside, so you can look in. There won't be curtains, there won't be blinds, there won't be smoke windows, you'll be able to see straight in. Now, if you translate that to a gym context, if you are serious about wanting female customers to lift weights, you need to make sure that you're not enclosing the gym area, the weights area, so that women can't see in. And that means, for example, that you don't put it downstairs. Women do not want to have to go downstairs because they feel their means of escape, it sounds ridiculous, but it's true, their means of escape is not certain, or it's not easy. So you want to put the weights room preferably on the ground floor, or even upstairs if you've got a mezzanine area which is open. That's a fantastic place to put it. Obviously, you've got to be careful about things like stray dumbbells, but that a mezzanine is great for attracting women. But if you're working with a ground floor, you need to make sure that your entrance to your main weights area and your weight machines area is open. So keep it wide. Don't pack it with machines at the front. Don't expect people to come past, racks of dumbbells, for example. Keep it open for them. And then when it comes to how you arrange your weights machines, again, don't cluster them too tightly. Make sure that the areas are open and more than one person can walk in and out, because a woman is not going to squeeze past a man on a weights machine to get to a weights machine. She's simply not going to use it. And you may say, well, why should, she should man up. Well, fine, but 53% of this population is female. If you want those customers, you need to understand their psychology. Okay, and I'm telling you because I'm a woman, because I run my own gyms, because I've been in weights rooms for years, and I talk to women and I know how they feel about things. So that's the next thing, is don't cluster your machines and keep your machines in a space that's open and easily accessible and appears to be visible from the outside. The next thing is, and this is where your PTs are crucial, is if you've got female PTs, and I know they're about as common as a zebra on Oxford Street, but if you have female PTs, those female PTs have to be prepared to pick up and handle the weights and use the machines. Often you'll have female PTs and their interest will be group exercise and not the heavy stuff. Well, first of all, can I say, if you're a qualified PT, certainly at level 1, the majority of the training you do is on weights. You cannot pass your level 1 as a personal trainer in the UK without doing a lot of weights. You have to be able to design a weights program. You have to understand how equipment works, particularly things like squats and deadlifts. You have to learn technically how to do them. So there is no female PT who's qualified out there who does not know how to use weights, okay? Second is, if you've got female PTs who are nervous about being in the weights room, you need to help them get over that, because it's incredibly powerful for females in the weights room to see female PTs work with weights in a confident way. As I've said in previous videos, when I was training, I would get cold called because the word went round that there was a woman, an older woman and a woman who clearly lifted weights because she carries quite a lot of muscle, training, and there were gyms that wanted me in their weights room. In fact, I was never going to work for somebody else. I was at a level already. I was going to be working for myself. But the point is, if you get female PTs, they're gold. Look after them, encourage them to use the weights room, show them how to do weights rooms, and incentivize them to walk the weights floor and be seen on the machines. And if they see women in the gym, encourage them, go with them, accompany them, show them how to use weights room. Another idea for you, if you're looking to bring more women to the weights room, is to do a formal group instruction. So take groups of 2, 3, 4 women into the weights room and show them routines. As I've said in previous videos, women are very, very good at simply doing what they are shown. So women will generally not wing it in the weights room. They will do exactly what you show them to do. So if you give them a routine, they will use it. So that's another way that you can encourage them into the weights room. So let's now go back to my layout. So we've got PTs in the centre, okay. Now, the way I have organised it is I put my weights at the top. Now, I have clustered them together because from an ergonomic perspective, from a space perspective, it makes sense to have the machines together. And if you've got people doing different types of splits, so some people do push split and pull split, which means they split their weights days into days that are about pushing weights and days that are pulling weights. And if you think that sounds odd, have a look on this channel. I have got a playlist on push-pull, and I've actually also designed some two weight workout programs for you, which you can print off and use, and they go with accompanying videos. If you go onto the website, which is www.3piecepublishing.com/push-pull, you'll find you can print out those workouts. You go onto this channel and just search push-pull, or look at the playlist. There's one for push-pull. Have a look at those videos. But it's actually a really good way as an intermediate weight trainer to organise your training. So but the point I'm making is, if you have people who are doing different types of splits, you can never design the ergonomic arrangement of weights machines to satisfy everybody. So the best thing to do is to put your weights machines together. I remember a gym I used to train at, and from a space perspective, and because the gym manager clearly wasn't a weights specialist, he had scattered the weights machines around this huge space, interspersed with, chill out areas and cool down areas, and there was power play, all sorts going on. It was immensely irritating because I was walking the length to find one machine. Please don't do that. Put your weights machines together. Understand how people train. So I put my weights machines at the top, okay. I then created this area here, which I call functional training or functional fitness. that's very much an entry level for, if you want people to do more weights, offer functional fitness first, because what it is, it's use of weights, but in a way that's probably more familiar for people who do other forms of fitness. And also you can badge it as the way to improve performance in other sports. So functional fitness is very good for things like football, rugby, swimming, running, triathlon. You know, all of those sports require some weight training, but not necessarily in a sort of bodybuilding context. With functional fitness, which involves things like, you know, using weighted bags or jumping on and off boxes, using TRX, for example. Those are all forms of functional fitness. I deliberately have put it next to the weight areas to get people used to seeing people using the weights rooms. And also, for your PTs, you can be encouraging them as part of the programs that they're helping with people with on functional fitness to start to bleed people over into the weights machines area. So it's a really good way of sort of migrating people over to the weights area. Okay, so on the other side of my functional fitness, I've actually put my free weights, and you can see on my little diagram here of my dumbbells. Now the reason I've done that is because, again, I'm looking at dumbbells as being the entry level into weight training. So women in particular, again, look at the site. I've done a video on how women train in the weights room. Women will start and feel most comfortable with dumbbells. They don't particularly like machines. They don't like the adjustment element of machines, the sort of, you know, movement of plates and pins and all that business. They're not this. They don't like gadgetry the way men do. I know I'm talking in really stereotypes here, but I'm talking from experience here and talking to women about the weights room. What they say to me, they're phobic about adjusting machines. Okay, so start women on dumbbells, but position your dumbbells so they're near enough to the weight machines that women have got a view and can see. They're not going to sit on a bench and pervert men on the weights machines. They're much more likely to be looking at how those weights machines are used, and it's about breaking down fear and resistance, getting women to think about weights machines. Okay. Now you may think, well, why? You know, what's my obsession with getting women on weights machines? My obsession is getting women on weights, and weights machines I think are brilliant because they're very safe. And as women get fitter and they're lifting more weight, as with anybody, getting onto weights machines is a much safer way to lift weights. Obviously, if you're looking to bodybuild, you'll still keep an element of free weights, and there will be lots of, you know, quite fun compound exercises like squats and deadlifts, which obviously you don't use machines for. But for women, often for women who are looking to do a small amount, short, sharp weights, then moving from dumbbells to machines or a combination to is a really good solution for them. So that's where I put my my weights area. Now at the bottom, this red square, this is TRX. A lot of gyms have TRX. It's quite fun. I think it's fun without people realising actually how good it is for you, because it's obviously body weight that you're using. And I've deliberately put it in the opposite corner from functional fitness, because the tendency tends to put TRX and functional fitness together, which is great, but you're not letting much flow happen in the gym, because people who do functional will do TRX and they'll all end up in one corner over here. Whereas if you put it down here again, you're more likely to get flow, and it also allows people at the dumbbells, sitting at the benches here, to see TRX and see how it's used, and particularly if you encourage your PTs to be instructing on TRX. And if, for example, you do small group instruction on TRX, guys doing dumbbell work may see TRX. The first time I ever used TRX, it was actually a bodybuilder who showed me how to use it properly, and I needed that instruction. I think people look at TRX and they sort of know what they're doing, but it's a bit of that equipment which people want to look like they're good at it. People want to not fall off it and look like they're professional. They probably need a bit of instruction. One of my colleagues, her particular specialist field, this may sound bizarre, but is pole dancing fitness. You wouldn't know it to look at her, but it's what she does, and obviously that is quite a physical sport. And she talks about the willingness to fall off the pole. But she's talking about a group exercise setting where it's women on their own. When you're talking about women in a gym setting, no one wants to look a fool, and particularly women don't want to look a fool with equipment. So have your TRX near the dumbbells, let women see what's happening on TRX, and then try to bleed them over to show them how TRX works. It's really good for women who maybe are scared of too much heavy weight because they think they're going to get bulky. To persuade them onto TRX, you're going to get an intenser workout, obviously with TRX, but without the nervousness that women have about bulking up. Okay, so this is the sort of equipment area. I've also included down here a cool down area. Often with gyms, they put the cool down area separate from all of the activity, and they use any sort of spare piece of ground left in the gym. It's almost like a real afterthought. And I can think here of a gym that I used to train at in Wood Green. It was and the most amazing weights room, which was upstairs, and then downstairs they had this sort of dead space, which was where the cool down area was. And I just always thought it was a real shame, because for two reasons. First of all, because cool down should be part of your workout, and if you separate it from where the main weights are, people forget to do it or think it's not integral to their workout. And second, because it's the area where PTs have most chance to interact with their clients and to be seen by other people interacting with the clients. So it's really good for business and PTs. So I would encourage you, as I put here, to try and work your cool down area into your main part of the gym, into where the circulation is. You may find clients feel a bit, off put, doing stretches, people wandering around, but they'll get over that very quickly, and you'll end up with a much more social space. Okay, so that's how I would design a weights gym to encourage women in. Why would I encourage women in? Because it encourages in more men. It encourages in a broader spectrum of people who want to use weights. We all know that weights are incredibly important for health, and so it's about trying to find lots of different ways to encourage people to use weights. Please leave a comment. I'd love to hear your views on this. I'd love to hear your examples of good gyms or bad gyms. You can also send me photos. If you want to send me photos, then either send them to me via the website, which is www.3pspublishing.com. You can all post them on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/3psmedia. You can also tweet me. I'm at 3, that's number 3, P's, P-E-A-S, publishing, at 3Ps Publishing. You can also just message me below here. I answer all my questions. I know your time is precious, so I appreciate your time on this. Like this and share this, and do subscribe. It'd be lovely to have you. We've got a committed group who do interact, which is fantastic, and I'm very happy to cover anything you want me to ask. But this is Catrin from 3Ps Media. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you soon. Bye.